Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Niall, and in today's video I'm going to just give you a brief rundown of exactly why we use GoHighLevel as our main CRM software. I'm also going to show you how to kind of get set up with HighLevel, take use of their free trial, their setup links, things like that. I'm then also going to give you like a beginner rundown of how to set up accounts, navigate HighLevel, get an understanding of what information to provide, where to log in, and whatnot. So as you can see on the screen right now, this is the GoHighLevel app. They are running a 14-day free trial at the moment. I believe they are also doing a 50% off discount. So now is a perfect time to get set up ASAP. So we can close that down. So this is what HighLevel will look like on a agency level. So an agency level is basically the grand kind of the oversight channel that looks upon all the different accounts that you would set up. So for example, let's say you have 100 clients. To manage those 100 clients, you would need an agency account that will allow you to change certain things or make certain adjustments to all of the accounts at once, right? So here's some settings that we can just briefly just touch upon. So you can see all of your sub accounts here. You can create something called Snapshots, which I'll get into in another video, but that basically just takes a quick screenshot of an account that you can then duplicate and use for other different setups as well. You have the reselling, which basically is about rebilling your customers and making sure that you're not spending money on their accounts. And then you have some other things like the mobile app, etc. Right? So then you also have settings where you can go in, change your profile, the company, the team, manage your billing, things like that, right? Cool. Agency level is not really too important as of yet, because right now the main thing for you guys would be to set up sub accounts and actually use them for your clients. So then you can utilize the services that GoHighLevel has, for example, right? So I'm going to take you over to one of our sub accounts. So this is one of our accounts here. And what you can see here on the left hand side is the most important settings of them all. Okay, so when you kind of create a new account and push forward to your client that you want to create a new sub account, what you're going to do is obviously go into this sub accounts, create sub account. Here, like I said, you can import the snapshots. So like, here's some snapshots that we have created. Here's some ones that we found online as well. But GoHighLevel also do have some templated snapshots for you. So for example, if you are a marketing agency, you might be able to take some things, some setup guides from these guys that automatically have things built out. So automations, landing pages, websites, things like that. Same can be said for something like the finance industry, or I know there's an insurance one or something like that. So home services is another good one. So there's plenty of opportunities to kind of look through these as well. You can click setup guide and understand exactly what it is and how to use it. I would recommend doing these if you are going to be using these. It will show you how to exactly launch it properly with no sort of errors or miscommunication between the CRM and your client's details. So follow this along if you are going to be using a pre-installed snapshot. But in another video, I will show you how to kind of generalize a sub account and then make it a universal account for all of your clients moving forward, right? So that is how we utilize snapshots. Cool. So now that we have a snapshot, now that we have a sub account created and everything like that, you're going to send over a link to your client for login. So then what this is going to look like on the client's perspective is they're going to be looking at this screen here. So this is called the launchpad, right? This is going to be the easiest way for your client to kind of log in and just go through and add all of their different logins, for example. So here we get them to download the mobile version of HighLevel. We get them to add in their Google My Business. We can also get them to add Facebook, WhatsApp, and Stripe. And here's also another good place to add new team members into the company as well, right? So we're going to have, multiple different people on accounts at some point. You're going to have people that have team members and things like this. You can do it through this section. Another section is you can go down onto this settings tab on the left and click my staff. And then you can go through and then add different users, for example. So obviously that has some details there of my team. So yeah, that's exactly what you're going to be doing for your client basis as well. Cool. So main thing for me, importantly, is understanding where you're going to be looking on a day-to-day basis as a client, and an overview of managing your client, right? So there is a dashboard that you can set up. So this dashboard here is custom to what we have within the business. So we haven't actually turned our ads on as of this month, but because as you can see, we've only generated one lead this month. Five booked meetings from previous leads and things like that. We've got a shown appointments counter as well. We've also got a Facebook ads report, as well as how many calls our monthly team members are making at the moment, right? So that gives you like an overview. You can click up here, edit dashboard, and you can come down and you can make all different things, right? So for example, let's just say how many appointments were cancelled over the month of January. You'll be able to just click this and drag it in, change some settings, click save, and it will go onto the dashboard. So then you can get a quick view of that and understand where your business is sitting at as of when you kind of have a look at it, right? So I would recommend always changing this. I would make it applicable to your situation, things that you kind of want to see straight off the bat. So like, I know for me, this was a really good one. Total calls made by my SDR team this month. Before that, I would have to make a report and kind of have to look into the reporting section per person to understand how many calls they've made. But then we tie it all together in the dashboard and we create a widget, which then allows us to obviously have this presented to us right at the beginning, right? Cool. Next thing is, I'm just going to go through all these settings on the left just to give you a brief overview of what everything can do, right? Conversations. So conversations is so good, right? So it is a place where your client and yourself can come in and review all of the kind of information that's being passed around in the system. So for example, with this is Anthony. So Anthony has come through one of our our lead forms on Facebook. We've obviously had to have some outbound attempts at trying to contact him. But you can see that we have emails going out at times, we have some calls going out, we also have some text messages, we also have an understanding of we're updating the opportunities. So the opportunities is like a pipeline stage system where you can kind of track and manage and monitor all of your leads that are coming in. You can leave notes and things like that, but we'll touch on that in a moment. But this conversations tab, right, what it does in all is just shows you all of your available contacts that you can communicate with. Like I said, you have the power to SMS, WhatsApp, email, and Kixi SMS. I'm not sure about that. I've not used that one before. But SMS, WhatsApp, and email are very good to use from this platform, right? With emails, it also shows you that they've been delivered as well as opened. So, for example, if this little blue symbol turns green, then you will know that that is open. Okay. GoHighLevel has decided to just close on me. Cool. So whilst that refreshes, so this is a great place for your client, to kind of see all of their potential customers. They're going to have all the different assets in here so they can understand, where they came from, who they're speaking to. So for example, here, outbound call, who made this call? And it was Jakob, right? So then I know that Jakob is calling that lead. And you can see that on a client basis as well. When your clients are making outbound conversations, right? We're also going to have certain things that notify your client on new lead notifications, new meetings, and things like that, all booked. That will all be coming through into this conversations tab. It's super powerful and definitely worth looking into. So hit down here, you can also see Facebook form lead submitted, and that is when he was submitted. What I'll also notice to mention now is, for example, this sub account has this sort of conversations layout. I know that they are rolling out some updates as of this week. So it's potential that your conversations tab could look like this, or you might have the old version, which is, in my opinion, a little bit easier to follow and understand, right? Because you've got all of these different options here. But I digress. We're going to move over to calendars. So calendars for us is, again, super important. We spend a lot of time monitoring and tracking our calendars, right? So what I'm going to say in regards to this is, the calendar for me is the most important thing to set up, because what you can do is you can tie it to a Google account. Okay, so for example, let's just take this consultation call. So we've created this alliance calendar called introduction call, right? So it's a 30-minute duration. It's a round robin, which basically means it can be passed across different team members. It doesn't have to be allocated to one individual. So we can click over on here and we can click edit calendar. This is where you can go through, change your calendar name, your description. You can give it a group, but that's not necessarily too important. Your custom URLs, as well as meeting invite titles. So this again is important. These are using custom values. So contact field values, right? You can get them into, if you go to settings, come down here on the left and go custom fields. If you go into custom fields, then you can have all of the contact profiles. So then you can also just write them here. But another way you can do it is just hit this tab and then click contact. And then you have all the list of contact information here. So again, appointment start times you can add in as well. And then anything that is account is your client basis level, right? So anything that you've set up on it for your client. Again, we're going to do team members because it's round robin, and then you can go in and do your availability as well. Cool. So contacts is obviously going to be your space where you can go directly into your large database distribution of contacts that you've generated. So potentially whether that's through Facebook ads, Google ads, whether you've imported contacts or whatever it may be, this is a place that you can store every single person's information. So right now we have something like, nearly 3,000 leads stored here. They're tagged individually differently, so we can keep track of, where they've come from, the differences between where they've come from and how they've reached out to us and things like that. There is a list of settings up here, which is pretty useful. For example, if some automations don't trigger or pipelines, things like don't trigger as well. So you can come back and do it on a manual basis level. So for example, let's just say Tarol Sandolph didn't go through and go through to some of the automations, right? So we could change his pipeline level here. We can update this. We can put him as like a new lead or something like that, for example, and then we can also add him to a new automation, right? So we have lists of automations that we can go through. We can then add him to different sorts of automations. We can send text messages. We can send emails. We can add tags, remove tags, delete the contacts, send Google reviews. Export contacts, so we can select a list of people that we want to export, and we can then retract the data as a Google Sheet or an Excel file. Import contacts works exactly the same way. CSV file, we'll cover that in another video. Just download your list of leads, sort it out .csv, import as an opportunity, etc. Right, super easy. So that's the contacts. I mean, realistically, you can. What I do on a day-to-day basis is when I set up Google Ads or Facebook ads, for example, and a new contact is generated, to make sure that the lead kind of integrations are all correct and flows smoothly. I just come into contacts and see if a lead has been generated, and then I can see whether the automation has been triggered upon that, right? So yeah, I come in here and just have a look as much as possible, just to see if everything's running smoothly. Another part, which is, I would say, the number one place that I want you and your clients to be looking at, is going to be the opportunities section, right? This is a really powerful tool that we advise all of our clients to use. We get them all on it. We give them tutorials, we give them sales training, etc., right? Because this is going to be how they are going to track all of their new lead details, as well as understanding their exact pipeline, right? So just give this a second to load. It's got a couple thousand people in here right now, but you can really see the different kind of categories that we have for following up. For this is for our example, our business, for example. So we have stuff like new lead, no answer, 1 to 5. We have some inbound calls. We have not interested. Miscellaneous is like basically the calls didn't connect. But then we also have stuff like meeting booked, right? So that's all automatic. When a meeting is booked, they're going to update this pipeline. So we can really keep track of, who the hot leads are and who the cold leads are and the tire kickers, right? Same goes for understanding how much money you've generated. You can put this in deal closed, and you can get, opportunities created there. So we've got nearly 50,000 in deals closed last month. and understanding their opportunity value, right? So, for example, Ken McDaniel, we can come into the account just by clicking the box, and then you will have different opportunities to update here, right? So we have the opportunity value, how much they closed for, whether there's a deal closed, etc., right? So nice and straightforward. Again, we'll cover this in more detail in another video. Today's video is just purely a kind of just an oversight, an overview of what everything can do, right? Payments. Payments is not necessarily a tab I've used too much, I'll be honest with you, but I am aware of its capabilities. So basically, what you can do is you can create products and services that your clients or you can use. You can tie this to Stripe, you can tie this to QuickBooks, I believe, as well, for accounting software. And then you can do your invoicing and estimates through this as well. So I'm not going to go again into too much detail, but there you can create a new invoice or a new recurring invoice and send that to your customers or your clients, and they can use this platform as well. Another thing, they can tie all of this invoicing up to the dashboard, so you can have custom widgets and see how much money you're generating on a monthly basis, for example, using the invoicing structure on HighLevel. So I'm just going to give it a quick refresh here, and we're going to take a look now at the AI agents. So AI agents is something new to HighLevel. Again, I would still say it has a little bit of work to kind of get to the point that it's going to be ready to rock and roll. But a lot of people are seeing good success with this. So you have, the voice agent, and you also have a text agent as well. So you can go through, you can set up your goals, your training. You can give it knowledge basis through websites or Google searches. And yeah, you can really have a mess around with this. You can buy some pre-installed ones as well, so you can get them on the website, on HighLevel website here, so you can download them as well. But these are really important. I mean, if you wanted to build a website which had like automatic tracking or follow-ups with leads, then I'm sure you can set up a like an outbound call agent or a chat widget or something like that has a call agent to follow up with your leads and act on your behalf, or on your client's behalf, right? So AI agents, again, another powerful tool that HighLevel has. The next one I'm going to jump into is the marketing. So this is like a social planner for all the different types of social accounts. Some of the best ones that I do is kind of Instagram and Google My Business. We've seen, like a 40% increase of SEO performance just by posting one photo a day on Google My Business, right? So that is a really, really powerful tool. And you can plan and schedule these posts over the course of 30 days for your client. You can just go in, use generative AI with ChatGPT, create some captions and descriptions, etc. Right? Nice call to actions, make it super simple. And then again, what you can do, you can then tie this together with Ads Manager, so you can build out Facebook and Google Ads through this platform as well. We handle everything externally, so we don't build on here, but we do tie everything together through HighLevel. But that is another place as well, so you can come over to Ads Manager and then begin to manage certain things, right? So then there is also templates in here that you can use. It's just been hella slow today. So like that, for example, like we've got different things that we can get started with, right? Cool. Automations. So automations is going to be your hub for making sure everything takes over. So when certain actions happen within the business, you want to have, follow-up set up, things like that. So we've got like email notifications, we've got different things that are, automated text messages, feedback from calling. So when inbound calls are made, like who gets notified within the business. We're going to set up conversions tracking, and then we've got other things like for our clients as well, right? So you can also tie in like NAN automations, lead notifications, things like this, right? So these are going to be used on a day-to-day basis. I think the most important one for any sort of business owner that's running lead generation and tying it together with HighLevel is going to be this automation right here. So it's literally just going to be a Facebook form lead submitted. Make sure that you've got your account logged in, and you choose the correct form as well. But what we're going to do is then we're just going to add a new tag. We're going to add create an opportunity, move them into a new lead with a different pipeline, with a new lead status, internal notification. This is going to send a text message to the team. This is going to basically give them the results and answers of the Facebook form that we've got them to come through. Then this also sends a notification to Slack. I can go cover that in another video on how to set up like a call center facility utilizing Slack. And then what we do is, because we've pulled the information from the lead form and they've given us their answers here, we then create a note on the account, right? So each contact that is created will have a note on the account with their questions and answers that they've provided on the Facebook form, right? Nice and simple. I'll cover more detail in another video, because there's a lot to go through in automations, but you can just click create workflow. You can start from scratch. You can start from a new template. There's lots of things to go through there. So another really powerful tool. So the next place is sites. So for me, this has a few places that I really like. So obviously you can build out landing pages, and landing pages are going to be something that you can set up for your clients. So making sure that you're promoting an offer, you have a thank you page, you have a download page, or whatever it may be. This is just an example. So you've got the funnel steps. So that's obviously your opt-in page. And then we've got a second opt-in page when you probably provide your information, your download page. This is just an example that I've just pulled, right? So there's very good funnel designs that you can use. You can use from blank, obviously. You can use AI, and there is also hundreds of templates to use on HighLevel. So you can always just mess around with something available to you. Same goes for websites. Works in a very kind of similar way. Obviously, funnels, you're going to have different stage processes. So you're going to have like an opt-in, a booking, and then a thank you. With a website, you're just going to have a service-based page where people can kind of click around and read about your business, XYZ, right? So another thing you can also incorporate is like chat widgets onto the website. You can do QR codes here, and you can also add custom domains, as well as, build out custom forms and surveys, right? So surveys and forms are going to be your most important thing to kind of monitor on your sites, because that's obviously surrounded by CRO, so like different conversion rates. So you're going to have to monitor and do different things on that level, right? This is quite a poor sub account to kind of go through example wise. I'm only just noticing that as we go along. It's also been really slow. But you can see, right? So this is just a basic understanding of what we're looking for. You can go in and then change all of these things. So like we've got different element options here. So these just drag and drop, and then you mess around with it, right? And then, for example, if you wanted to tie an automation to this would be your website lead form. So your trigger would be form submitted, not a Facebook form. This would just be a normal form. You then make sure you have the correct title, and then you just save, and then you can build out your automations when using that as a trigger, right? Memberships, personally, I've only messed around with it a little bit. You can build out courses and things like this. What I use this for is for like an onboarding tutorial. So like we had a lot of Facebook clients coming in, and we're struggling to kind of grant us access to the ads manager and stuff like that. So I actually went through, just built a quick course for them to kind of understand and follow, watch through, and it's like a 5 video stage, right? So we just send them the link to this, they just go through, create the course and things like that, and then we just get a notification to say that someone's watched the whole course, and then obviously we get like Facebook Ads Manager logins and things like that. So that's how I've used for the memberships tag on the course section. You can probably have a go and build something a little bit more in depth. So like I know that people have like communities running through here, very similar to something like school.com. But yeah, we won't touch too much on the memberships. Media storage is basically, obviously, it's going to just act as a place where you can just dump all of your information and your pictures and your videos. And the most important thing here is just going up to here and click get link. So for example, if you want to change the favicon or change a specific photo on your website and you want to change the media URL, sometimes the best way for me to do it is just come into the media storage and click get link, and then just paste the link into wherever you're needing to paste that. But yeah, pretty self-explanatory. You can also jump into things like free stock images and things like that. They're all going to be on here already. Like I said, you just go into that little tab there, click all, and then just have a scroll around, right? Reputation is going to be a place where you can manage and send out all of your Google, Facebook, Trustpilot, all of those types of review platforms. You can set up everything on here. You can make sure that you've got these on a, like a follow up sequence. So, for example, if your client comes in, and you complete the work for them, job's happy, cash collected, you're ready to take a review from them. If, for example, you can set up an automation that would reach out to a customer depending on their stage on the pipeline. So, for example, if the pipeline stage is job completed, cash collected, for example, when a client is moved into that stage of the pipeline, you set up a trigger, which is the pipeline change to that selective one. And then upon that, so when someone goes into that pipeline stage, they would get sent a Google request review, right? And then depending on whether they replied, and you can change certain factors, you can then do a follow-up sequence. So then you can message them for the next 7 days or something, just prompting them to give you a review. This is another tool that is super powerful as well. Google My Business Optimization. I have nothing on this account to show you because I don't have Google My Business linked to this one. But you can go in and just change just your standard services and all of your other arrangements and agreements, and it gives you a score out of 16. I think the best score you can get is like 15, 16 from messing around with this and just uploading new photos and things like that. Nice and simple, right? Reporting is going to be the last thing that I'm going to touch on because these two are pretty self-explanatory. App Marketplace is basically where you can download different apps and just tie them onto your GoHighLevel, and then the mobile app is just a mobile app URL to download. But again, reporting is really good. You've got custom reports, Google reports, Facebook reports, call reports, things like that, right? So like I said earlier, when I was doing this is like outgoing call reports, how many people were actually on the phone, how many time were they spent on the phone, who are they speaking to, etc. Right? I'd have to go in, pull a manual report and have a look, whereas now I've got it on the dashboard, so we can do total calls by SDRs this month. But the last thing that I wanted to show you is when you set up a new sub account and make sure that you've got everything here ready to go, is you want to click into settings and you want to go to business profile and fill that out as best as you can and provide as much detail as possible, right? So that will give that will also pull as like custom values. So for example, like business website, like business friendly name, business legal name, business website, phone, all that stuff will pull through if you like map it correctly, right? So yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you.